Hey, it's Kim, and we've got to talk about Paris Hilton. Before we get too far into it, this is your friendly trigger warning. We're going to be talking about SA and CSA and other related trauma topics, so just viewer discretion is advised. So Paris Hilton recently sat down with Glamour UK and did an explosive interview. I honestly have no idea where to start with this one. Paris is currently promoting her new memoir, which is scheduled to come out on March 14th, and she's also been celebrating the birth of her first child, Phoenix. Regardless of what you think of her, Paris has survived a lot. She's been open about her history with Provo Canyon School, which is a boarding school for troubled teens. She and other students who were sent to the school claim that they were emotionally and physically abused. I don't want to get much more into this because there's no way for me to explain what Paris and her peers went through without YouTube getting mad at me, so I will just say that it was nothing short of horrific, and she talks about it a lot in her documentary, This is Paris. After her experiences in her youth, she went on to experience a major betrayal. Her ex-boyfriend sold a private tape of the two of them, and the video was everywhere. And when you combined that exposure with her show, which came out around the same time, called The Simple Life, it catapulted her into superstardom. Paris has been more open recently when she's talked about the tape. She said that the whole experience was humiliating and that it's going to hurt her for the rest of her life. So this Glamour interview was very much done like a conversation. So Paris was speaking with the interviewer, and she kind of narrates it from that perspective. One of the first quotes that stuck out to me from this article was this one. After my documentary, This is Paris, it was the first time I was really vulnerable and real, and so much has changed since that documentary, and I just felt like it was time just to get real and tell my full story. And I have to tell you, after This is Paris and some of the things that she has let us know about over the past couple of years, I didn't really think she had more to reveal. But if this interview is anything to go off of, her memoir is going to be insane. In the interview, she talks more about situations in her youth that were scary. In particular, that she actually had a teacher who targeted her. I was such a young girl, and I got manipulated by my teacher, she tells me quietly. He took advantage of a young girl, and that was something I blocked out as well. I didn't remember it until years later. He would just call me on the phone all the time, just flirting with me, trying to put me in a mind that I was this mature woman. One night, he lured her outside her home and into his car before her parents drove up. We only kissed, but if my parents didn't come, imagine what he would have tried to do, she asks. The teacher panicked, and they embarked on a car chase with the Hiltons in pursuit. She went on to say that she's never told her family the full extent of what happened that night, and that was because it was something she was ashamed of. She also went on to reveal that when she was 15, she was essayed by an older man. She says he forced her to drink wine that had I'm gonna call it a nasty substance in it, and she woke up a few hours later. She talked a bit about her coping mechanisms, but in particular about the creation of the dumb blonde character, or I guess you could call it Paris's alter ego for the public. She created it while she was at the boarding school when they would lock her in solitary confinement. I would literally just think about who I wanted to be and who I was going to become, she says. I started closing my eyes and dreaming of this world. I'm going to work so hard and become so successful, and no one will ever control me again. I was inspired by Marilyn Monroe, Barbie, and Dolly Parton, and all these blonde icons who were definitely playing characters as well, and that just made me not think about any of the bad stuff. It was like a total escape. Paris also shared more about her experience at the boarding school and how she was force-fed medication. I got sent to solitary confinement because a girl told on me for not taking the pills, she recalls quietly, revealing that following this, a group of the staff tackled her to the ground. They, the staff, carried me into a room, threw me in there, took my clothes, and I don't even know how long I was in there. I was just in hysterics. There's blood on the walls, feces, urine, and only a drain. No windows. Crazy. She was also subjected to late-night gynecological exams. This was something I had blocked out from my memory, but after hearing the story from other survivors, I started having flashbacks, she recalls. Late at night, staff members would come in and take certain girls and bring them into this room, and literally you would scream and cry and they would hold you down, 4 of them, men and women, and literally just be putting fingers and just doing things on a regular basis to certain girls. She confirms to me that she was one of those certain girls. But the thing that floored me the most in this article was Paris's interaction with convicted monster Harvey Weinstein. In 2000, 19-year-old Paris Hilton met Harvey Weinstein. It was during the Cannes Film Festival, and when she was at lunch with a girlfriend, Harvey approached her table. I was a teenager, so I was impressed by him. I was like, OMG, Harvey Weinstein is so cool. And he said, well, we should have a meeting. You can come up to my room and read scripts. And I just didn't want to go, so I never went. The next night at the gala, Weinstein became aggressive with her, following her into the ladies' toilets and screaming at her, "You wanna be a star?" I went into the bathroom and then he followed me, she recalls. He tried to open the door. He was hammering on the door, banging on it. And I wouldn't open it because I was like, I'm in a stall. Why do you want to come in here? And I just wouldn't open it. And security came and literally carried him away. And he was like shouting, "This is my party," going nuts. It scared me and freaked me out. I don't know about you, but when I read that, I just had chills all up and down me. It just seems so scary. I can't imagine how that must have felt for her. The article ends with Paris talking about how she just wants to be normal. I just want to enjoy life with my family and be normal. Really? I ask. You want to be normal? She nods her head. My mom always said to me, Paris, you've worked so hard and you've achieved so much. Just sit back and smell the roses and enjoy it. I don't know. I just finally feel like I'm building a real life and I'm really living. There is so much in this article. I have not even touched multiple other things that she shared. So I would encourage you, if you want to know more about Paris, this is probably a really good article to start with. I was floored. I am seriously debating on picking up this book when it comes out. I did think it was possible for there to be more for Paris to share with us, but I'm afraid based on this article, we've barely scratched the surface. I'd always heard about Paris playing a character for the public and for the media, like the rumors about her having her Paris voice and then her normal voice, and that in actual reality, she was a brilliant businesswoman. And with a net worth of $300 million, it's difficult for me to argue that. Contrary to popular belief, Paris has not made her wealth off of her family. She's made it off of her licensing empire. For example, she has 29 fragrances under her name, and they have made over $2 billion, and she likely gets around 20 to 30% of those royalties. And that is just one branch of her empire. It's obvious she knows what she's doing, and quite frankly, she doesn't need her family's money. It's amazing to see her take all of this pain and trauma and turn it into something good. Against all odds, almost 20 years after her tape, Paris is still a household name, and one that is now fighting to make change. I have to say on a selfish note that I hated Paris when I was a teenager. I saw the dumb blonde image, and that's all I saw. And now I look back and I see how gross the media and the public was to her. So on the off chance Paris ever sees this, I'm sorry. And I think it's high time we let this Paris is stupid stereotype die. Well, that's the video. Thanks so much for watching to the end. If you want, please leave a like and a comment below. You can also subscribe to my channel for more content. And if you really liked this video, you can check out my membership option. My members are known as the Space Angels, and we have a really fun community. I post extra content there, usually every week. Right now, we're doing a fun thing where we're going over a bunch of entries for Eurovision. So if that's something that you think would be fun and you would enjoy, you're welcome to come and check that out and come join the community. Well, that's it. Much love. Bye.